Welcome back, everybody, to the Skift Travel Podcast. I'm Skift's editor-in-chief, Sarah Kopit, joined as always by Skift's head of research, Seth Orko. Hey, Seth.
Hey, Sarah. How you doing?
Great. So we are back with another installment of our Olympic series. And this week, we have the pleasure of talking to Patrick Mendes, CEO of Accor Europe and North Africa. Hey, Patrick.
Hi, happy to be here.
We're really excited to have Patrick join us. Patrick is a French-born citizen, but a self-described citizen of the world. He's worked in Europe, Asia Pacific, USA, Latin America. I mean, the list goes on. I'm not sure how many more regions or geographies you could have worked with. Look, tell us, Patrick. I know you are the CEO of Europe, North America. You also, being based in Paris, have responsibility for pretty much all of everything Accor to do with the Olympics, or most things to do with the Olympics. Are Parisians getting excited for the games? Are you excited for the games?
Yeah, they're not too long now. Coming up.
By 7 days. So I don't know when you're going to podcast this podcast, but literally today we are 7 days before the Olympic ceremony. So it's yes, we are very excited.
I think we're going to air the day before. I think by the time you, the listener, are listening to this, the Olympics will be momentarily.
So yes, clearly, well, personally, I'll start with me, a student, but highly excited. This is my third games. And I was the last one. I was fully involved because I was the CEO for LATAM for Accor, and in Rio we had a wonderful game. So I had a kind of experience about the beginning of the excitement, which started 30 days before, and after the last week is crazy. So we are in this 7 days now preparing for the big show. Paris is ready, and Paris is beautiful. It's amazing because the city has transformed totally many monuments, many places, because there is a big project. We will talk about that, about the heritage project, which means that basically we're trying to use all the existing facilities, monuments, and wonderful places. So really, Paris, I've never seen Paris so beautiful and so ready to receive the games.
What do you think is going to be the most kind of like iconic view for us who are watching on TV? I've heard they're going to play beach volleyball in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
What are you most excited to actually see in action?
Well, you pointed out this one is a clear one, the beach volley in front of the Eiffel Tower. But you also, I will point out also the ceremony, or opening ceremony. This is amazing. Never happened on Earth. Never happened in history. It's in the Seine, so it's going to be something amazing. A 2.5 hours show with all the boss of the delegation, 210 delegation during those 2 hours and a half along the Seine. So that will be something amazing. And I will point out also the l'équitation and the horse in Château de Versailles. So having the possibility to go in Château de Versailles and looking at the horse competition, this is something amazing also. But honestly, I could go on and on. The locations are amazing. I had the privilege, being in charge of the Olympic for Accor, to visit many of the destinations and the venues. It's going to be really an amazing photos, amazing venues.
I need to ask you this hard-hitting question, but which sport do you most want to see France take part in?
I'm a rugby player. I used to be a rugby player, so for me, rugby will be the number one, of course, where I will go, and biking. But I will go in several games in the rugby A7. We have a champion, which is Antoine Dupont, so I will probably go on this one as a priority number one, and I will try to visit the most I can.
We have a South African member of our research team. As an American myself, I don't know much about rugby, but I'm starting to learn.
So all right. So let's get down to some brass tacks. Like, let's get down to the business. Accor is sponsoring these games. Can you talk a little bit about what it actually means for Accor's business to be a part of these Olympics?
Well, in fact, we have decided from the beginning in 2015, 16, when Paris was the candidate for the Olympics, to be part of the candidate dossier and the file, because as when you want to present your capacity to receive the Olympic, you need to have more than venues or more than a city. You need to have airport facilities, transport, and of course, hospitality is a key one, capacity to receive. And France is the number one country in the world in terms of tourism. We already ate several times 100 million tourists. We might achieve another year 100 million tourists in France this year. So that was the first reason we have the capacity. And Accor is a leader in Europe, is a leader in France. We have more than 1,500 properties in France, more than 350 properties in Paris. So, of course, it was evident for us that we had to be part of the game. So that was the number one reason. The second one is we are sport addicts. From the essence of the CEO, myself, and the company, and all the spirit of the company, we like competition. We like to support sport. We like everything which is linked to sport, all the value. So it was the second reason also. We wanted to be part of this wonderful story. So we decided to become a premium partner. This was about, we upgrade our partnership a few months ago, becoming premium. And I will say it's three things. First, we manage the villages, and we will go in details on what does that mean. But we are basically managing the athlete village and the media village. Second, we are managing a company called Reza Event, which is an accommodation agency where we are managing the accommodation for all the groups, all the hoteliers of Paris and France. So you go through Reza Event, which is a structure owned by Accor, which manage all the accommodation. And third, we have 350 hotels in Paris and 650 hotels in France that will be impacted directly by the game, where we have some what we call allotments. We gave some occupancies or some allotment and some space for all the people that will travel and visit Paris and France for the next 2 to 3 months.
So, but we've heard from several people that the Olympics is actually having a bit of a deterrent effect this summer on tourism specifically. Are you seeing that as well? Is that something that Accor is feeling?
It's a mixed feeling, I will say. For the Olympics, we have no clue, no concern, no problem. It's going to be amazing. We are planning to achieve 80 to 90% occupancy in our hotels. We have today already booked roughly 75% of our hotels for the Olympics the peak period, which is basically the 2 weeks of the Olympics and the 2 weeks of the Paralympics, which are 15 days after. So I have no concern, and it's going to be amazing during the Olympics. Where it was a bit more mixed is before and between the two Olympics and Paralympics. Before was a bit more difficult because a lot of people are waiting, or they want to avoid Paris. They wanted to avoid Paris basically end of June and beginning of July. So we've seen what I've seen in Paris, what I've seen in London in the past, and I think what we've seen in all the big event and Olympics, a kind of low period before the Olympics, a very high period during the Olympics, and after a lower between the two. But at the whole, we will be a bit better than a normal year. We are announcing at Accor that the Olympic Games will give a 2 points upgrade in terms of revenue for the whole year for France. So it's going to have a nice impact. It could have been better. It could have been more than that. But 2 points is sort of something that we want. But to be more complete, if we do the same as last year, we would have been happy. If we will do a bit better than last year. What we're looking at when we are partnering or when we want to do the Olympics in Paris, it's just to put again in the map the position of France and Paris in tourism, and to make it shine for a long run. So we're here for, I think this will have an impact for the next 3, 5, 10 years. Just reminding to everyone, look how beautiful is France and is Paris. Look how beautiful are the venues. Look how welcoming are the people. Because sometimes it might be but not perceived as so. But so we want to showcase really France, Paris, Accor, our hotels, our welcoming, le sens de l'accueil, we say in France. This is what we're looking at. So it's going to be a good session for the Olympics, but we are looking at the long run. It's going to be good for 3, 5 years for tourism in France for sure.
And we actually spoke with Ben Smith, who's at Air France, and he had some similar things to say. He said, 3 to 5 years, it's really, in many ways, it's like a giant billboard of saying just how beautiful Paris and France is. He also talked about some of this deterrent stuff, and he said part of the reason that he, as an airline CEO, is having troubles is because hotel room prices are so high, and that's you guys, right? So do you think his loss is your gain? Is that like, are you guys going to have good?
Well, you had so many articles about that, about price. The reality, you might have seen that a year ago when, you have all this effect of Olympics are coming, all the residentials, all the apartments, people saying that we're going to say, so you're going to sell apartment. Some people even buying apartment for Olympics. This was a souffle effect, or they say a temporary effect. The reality is what I can tell you, we are monitoring prices. I have a revenue management solution monitoring prices. We're seeing the same kind of price as a big event, like the air show in Paris, in Bourget, or like a fashion week. This is the kind of price we are seeing for the Olympics, not more than that. So you might have an exception of a very key location and a franchisee that did not look at it on the long run. And we also alerted that, and we have some kind of alert when we have a price of a hotel not being really realistic. We just send him an email because we don't control everything as a franchisor. You do recommendation, you do guidelines, but you have some hotel that might decide to put the price very high. But the reality is it's very exceptional. And I've been checking that almost every week because I have a big team doing monitoring on revenue management. It was a fantasy of many articles and many press sometimes saying that the price is booming. I don't say that we don't have an exception, but it's very rare.
So I like that, like kind of a little bit of myth busting. And you have a lot of experience running Olympic Games. You said you were in Rio. I think you mentioned you've done some London stuff and you're very involved in these Paris Games. I mean, take us a bit behind the scenes. Like, what kind of preparations did you need to do on the hotel, accommodation, hospitality side that maybe our listener, doesn't think of? Like, what's like a little fun? Give us some insight into what goes on behind the scenes to make Accor
Well,
hotels
I
Olympic ready.
can tell you, it might be fun, but for the moment, it's more pain than fun because it's a lot of organization. Just before you, I was with my team for 2 hours. I'm doing every 2 days a kind of coordination call with all the teams, all the involved people in terms of safety, security, hygiene, operation, marketing, communication. It's involving all the departments. I have a core team of roughly 50 people managing the Olympic events, but. I can say two things. First, something which is very specific, and I think it's worth to spend a minute on this one. For the first time, the COJO, the Comité Olympique or the Olympic Committee, decided to give the responsibility to manage the villages to an hotelier. It never happened before, which means that we are, Accor, managing the 2 villages which have been built on purpose. It's important. They've built 91 towers, new buildings. And these are linked to the project Heritage, which means that all these buildings are being sold to B2C, to clients, normal clients that will buy those apartments. So it's not a temporary construction. They started that 6 years ago. So we have 91 towers that have been built, apartments, normal apartments, some with 2 bedrooms, some with 3 bedrooms. And they gave us this village number 1, which is the athlete village, with 15,000 rooms to operate. So we had to recruit roughly 800 people, 700 people to do the welcoming, the check-in, sometimes the breakfast for the media village, the cleaning, of course, of the rooms. So we're doing that. So it's the Accor staff managing that. So it's like opening of 150 hotels for 6 months. And after you reclose the hotels, 6 months after. We open on the 2nd of April and we will close in end of September. So can you imagine as an hotelier to open 150 to 200 hotels at the same time? We're talking about 15,000 rooms just for the athlete village. So this is the number one thing that is worth to explain. And you have all that can happen in an opening. Yesterday we had 3,000 arrivals. And Monday and Tuesday, so 3 days before the Olympic, we have 10,000 arrivals the same day.
I thought the check-in lines at my most recent resort stay were long. That's going to be tough. That's got to be tough.
I can tell you, 10,000 arrivals from 210 countries, athletes, all stressed because they have
all
all excited.
VIP guests. Yeah.
They are always a lot of requests, very lots of different. So this is the first thing we had to do is to prepare our staff, to recruit the right staff, to prepare the excitement, to control the excitement of our staff, of our artists. And we use that for all our hotels. What we did for the hotels, we use it for the Olympic Village and the Media Village, and vice versa. What we did so trainings, how to receive those community, how to connect with Chinese, Japanese, Middle East, Israel, and all the specificity of the, because you have a concentration in 20 or in 15 days twice of what's happening in the world, with all good and all bad happening in the world. So lots of training with our staff, and I can tell you, for the moment we are ready. They are all very excited, but it's a big preparation. So it's not fun. It's excitement, but it's a lot of preparation and organization to be ready for this kind of moment.
Will you take that staff and put them into your hotels after the Olympics?
Yeah, most of them, yes. It has been easier than expected because I had to recruit a specific staff for this because it's a 6 months duration. And I thought it would have been very difficult to recruit people. And the fact of having Accor behind, we are, I don't want to seem arrogant, but we have a good image as an employer and as a company, very diverse brands. We have a lot of different brands in our 5,500 hotels. So, of course, it's attracting a lot of talents. But we have different, it was funny. That was fun. We did about 30 sessions of recruitment in our HQ in Paris, each session of 25 people, and collective sessions. And we had people from retired people wanted to leave the adventure for a week, for 2 weeks or a month or 6 months. We had people that decided to stop their job for 6 months, kind of, I leave my actual job as a banker or as a whatever, and I want to leave the experience of the Olympics. We had some athletes that want to live in hospitality, students, hoteliers, so a very mixed population of people that want to leave this 6 months of adventure.
I know that the world can be kind of a cynical place a lot of the time, but that doesn't surprise me at all. I love the Olympics. Like, I'm a sucker for all of that. It doesn't surprise me at all that you've had that sort of reaction from individuals wanting to be a part of the Olympic Games.
Stick around. We'll be back with more of our interview with Patrick Mendes after the break.
I do have another question. Have you seen the Airbnb ad that is running about why stay on the touristy side of Paris when you can stay on the Paris-y side of Paris? I'm just curious, what do you make of that as a hotelier? And do you see any do you even think short-term rentals are your competition, or are they just in a totally different kind of category and bucket?
Yeah, honestly, I don't want to seem to do an easy answer, but I really see that it is totally different. You don't come for the same reason, and
Right.
And you have people booking on residential, and they booked for many months ago, and they're booking for many people at the same time. They stay 2 months or 1.5 months or 2 weeks long stay. We are not seeing that in our hotels. We have a lot of, well, as I told you, we will achieve 80 to 90% of occupancy in our hotels. Not the hotel will do that, but some hotels might struggle a little bit more. But I see that as a very different demand, demand. And what I can tell you also, some of the guests coming from North America, from the UK, from the international, have decided to book last minute. Because of course at the beginning the price were too high. Now the prices have decreased a little bit because we still have space, and not Accor, but even Accor has a bit of space, but many of our competition has space. So now you can see that people are coming back. They have the tickets. They were waiting until last minute, and they are booking now. So we are seeing a 2 to 3 points increase of pickup coming for the last 3 to 4 weeks, but really for 3 days, 4 days. They want to go in hotels. They want to see people. They want to live the experience of our staff. It doesn't mean that they don't go on the residential, but I feel it's a different demand. And now going back on what you said on the beginning on the ads, we also did an ad. I don't know if you had the chance to see our advertising campaign that we are doing for the Olympics. We decided to go in the humor side and to play with the, and it's a funny one where we have a concierge of one of our hotels trying to help a little girl that had an ice cream, and suddenly the ice cream went. So he's running after the taxi to give her a new ice cream, and so we play. And of course, he's doing a lot of athletic mission to do that. And the motto is you can't imagine what what you will leave with Accor on top of the Olympics. And basically, we want to make sure that when you will come to Paris and you will stay a week, yes, you will see athleticism, you will see beach volley in Tour Eiffel. But when you will go back to your hotel, we want to make sure that you have some things that you will remind: a smile of a receptionist, even a burger you had in a Pullman. Or we want to add something emotional, an emotional link to all the travelers. That's why I think hotels here have a very, very important game to play to make a difference, to create this connection, this human link. That is a privilege of having artists, we call them artists, but having our people, our employees in our hotels.
All right. Yeah. And you talking about how integrating the hotels, integrating the Olympics, integrating the core. I want to talk a little bit about your Accor Live Limitless. It's the hotel loyalty program. And I think I read about it like a year ago. I think you teased that you would be doing some Olympic linked experiences with the Limitless program. I know I'm actually doing some other outside research on like the value of integrated experiences into loyalty programs for hotels. That's something that you've done a lot at Accor. Maybe just tell us a little about that, how that works for the Olympics. Is that strategy of more experiential hotel loyalty, is that working?
Yeah, you're right. It's part when I told you at the beginning of this interview that we wanted to be part of this experience, talking about le sens de l'accueil or welcoming, etc., etc. But there, I forgot one point, which is the important one. We want to also to use our platforms and to use our loyalty program as one of the key elements that will be showcased during this partnership. What we've decided, we are as the global partner for the Olympics, we are a premium partner for all the brands. So, which means all the Accor brands. So you can have the Ibis, Novotel, Sofitel, Fairmont, Mama Shelter, Delano, all our brands. We will showcase them in France during the Olympics, but all will be one of the key brands. So all Accor Live Limitless will be the kind of connection between all the brands, promoting our platform and our loyalty program. We will also do what we started to do about 5 years ago when we launched a program to connect this program to a much more human and experience-driven program. We are not only talking about a point, accumulation of point or burn of point. What we do with sport for the last 5 years with the PSG, with the Tour de France, with tennis, with marathon, with the Accor Arena, we will do the same with the Olympics. So connect experience you can't buy. So the money can't buy will be phenomenal for the all members during the Olympics. Thus, of course, will attract, recruit more members, will amplify what our members are doing with their program today. And we have many experiences. We have, I know that I was looking at my notes, more than 300 experiences have been given to our Diamond members. They will leave something that you can't buy. Meeting with some athletes, going to the Club France, and of course participating to 2 or 3 events in athleticism and in volleyball or in tennis, as an example. So these are things that are giving a lot of value to our program, and it's part of the strategy that we've started already 5 years ago, linked to sport and experience.
So let's talk a little bit. Let's change gears. I'm curious to hear about your restructuring. So over the last 2 years, Accor has been restructured into 2 different divisions. One is premium mid-scale economy. So we're taking divisions like Ibis, Novotel, Move and Pick. The other is luxury, Raffles, Fairmont, Sofitel. So now that you've had some time with it, what would you say is the competitive advantage from that reorg? What are you seeing?
Okay, I didn't know you wanted to ask me something about that. I was prepared for the Olympic questions, but of course I can answer to that. It's a live show. Well, I've been working for this company for 20 years, so I've been through different organization, and I can tell you, for me, for the last 10 years, after what we went through with the COVID and all that, this organization that Accor has 18 months. It's amazingly efficient in terms of focus. I was before that the group CCO, so group marketing and commercial leader, leading with the 54 brands. So from Raffles to Hotel F1, going through Mama Shelter and Delano. And we had so many brands because we did so many acquisitions in the last 10 years that it was needed. So the decision that Sebastian took with the Comex a year and a half ago to split the group, having the core business historical of Accor, which is what we call the premium mid-scale and eco division, with the 5,000 properties on one side, and after a kind of division per brand for Sofitel, M Gallery, Raffles, Fairmont, and all the Ennismore and the lifestyle division, which are 4 different divisions, give us a lot of focus. For example, me, I have 3,000 properties to manage and to franchise in Europe, North Africa. I'm focusing in 20 brands, and I can tell you, I'm getting the most of it. So, in terms of competitive advantages, I would say the number one word is focus, new energy, lack of dilution, and specialized people in each brand. So, when you have a team working for Sofitel, they have 200 hotels to focus on with a lot of consistency. So it's bringing a higher value for all the luxury brands, and we're going with a massive organization in the PME with the 3 big divisions, with Americas, Europe, North Africa, Middle East, Asia Pacific, China being separate, still joint on the luxury and. But so short words, it's a perfect move, or short answer, perfect move, very efficient.
So it's the more of the focus, the deepening on those brands. I love that. This is Skift. We have to ask a couple business questions for our hotel audience. I want to just, on this point about the focus on this premium, mid-scale, and economy, luxury gets a lot of attention. Me and Sarah, we love to fantasize about our luxury stay, and we want to fly first class, and we want to go to the Sofitel and all this stuff. But look, let's be real here, right? Why don't you tell us and our audience why the real money for the hotel industry is in premium and mid-scale, right? That's where the real money is.
Well, I would be more balanced on this one, because you can, in luxury, when it's working, it's real money. That's why when you cross a certain line of GOP level and a certain of RevPAR level, can tell you it's real money too. So, but it's smaller. Of course, it's smaller because, as I was saying, you have 100 Fairmont, or when you have 1,000 or 2,000 Ibis. So, of course, but I wouldn't say one replaced the other. It's a very complement business, or complementary one to the other, or you can add value on both. And 1 plus 1 really, in this case, means 3 in terms of value for sure. What I can tell you on the premium mid-scale and eco, I've been amazed. I'm coming from the luxury world and from the lifestyle and the premium world, and I've decided to accept the mission on the premium mid-scale and eco, because I think there is a lot of space to grow in terms of brand size, development. A lot of countries are still at the infancy of hospitality, because there are still a lot of independent hotels where it doesn't mean that they are bad, but they lack process, they lack distributions, they lack loyalty program, they lack branding. So I see a lot of space for growth in the premium mid-scale and eco. So what we did with Jean-Jacques Morin, which is now the head of this division, we focused first on the brands. What are the key brands on the premium mid-scale and eco, the Pullman, the Novotel, the Ibis, the Ibis Star, the Mercure, and redesign and re-precise what are the DNA of those brands, and what can we change to turn them sexy, attractive, experience-driven. And it's amazing. When you go in hotels now, when you give space or you give freedom to the GMs and to the creativity, we are opening some IBCs that are really the best hotel in town in secondary destination. We have a great bar, great music, lighting, which is the dimmer lighting. So you're changing the experience of mid-scale and economy hotel. So when you add that to the existing volume, and as you're saying, the money maker, but you add on top of that experience, possibility of upside in terms of rate and experience, or even other revenue, it's a winning machine. So that's why I'm a strong believer that you have space for growth in luxury lifestyle with consistency, attractiveness of the brand, and a lot of space on the premium mid-scale eco with a lot of countries that are still to conquer, and a lot of possibility to grow revenue and additional revenue in mid-scale and eco brands.
All right. I mean, love that answer. I love the complementary nature, and whenever you can find a business opportunity or 1 + 1 = 3, that's a must do. So I think that's all the time we have for this interview. Patrick, thank you so much for telling us
Thank you.
Accor's plans, Paris's plans, and just sharing your insights with us. We really appreciated it.
No,
Can't wait to watch.
No, thanks a
Yeah.
lot. I just will give you a last message. Come to Paris, and just if you have people telling you, "Oh, don't go because it's going to be a mess," it's going to be. I'm in Paris now. I can tell you, it's very well organized. It's very attractive. It's beautiful. It's sunny. It's going to be fun. So come to Paris and stimulate your readers or your listeners or your viewers to come to Paris, because you still have space and we still have tickets.
And watch Paris win the rugby gold, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye. Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap on our conversation with Patrick of Accor, talking about the Olympics and what it means for hotels in Paris. By the way, this was part 2 of our series on what the Olympic Games mean for the travel industry. Part 1 was airline focus. We spoke with Ben Smith, the CEO of Air France-KLM. They are also a major sponsor of the Olympic Games, also obviously headquartered in Paris. And that was another really fun conversation. It's available now to check out if you're interested. We're going to have a conclude in part 3 where we have Greg Klassen. He's the managing director of Skift Advisory. He's going to join us to talk about the destination side of things. So we've covered airlines, we've covered hotels, but what about the cities themselves? How do they plan for and benefit from an Olympics Games? That's going to be a really interesting conversation, and I hope you'll join us for it. By the way, if you want to give us feedback or have us answer your questions about the travel industry, about the Olympics, about anything in particular live on this podcast, our email inbox is podcast@skift.com. Please drop us a line. Let us know what question of yours we can answer on the air, what questions you have for us. Anyways, hope you're enjoying this series. I hope you're enjoying the podcast overall. Speak to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Skift Travel Podcast. Wherever you're listening, please make sure to subscribe. If you like what you're hearing, rate us 5 stars or leave us a positive review. It really helps get the word out about us, our podcast, and make sure that we can still continue to bring it to you free of charge every week.
If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell as well. That way you'll know every time we have a new episode.